Are you ready for a night where every full stop is only the beginning of a bigger question? Welcome to Beyond the Gates, airing Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, where Bill closes a mystery that's haunted him for weeks, only for another door to swing open right in front of him. As the final puzzle piece clicks into place, a new silhouette steps out of the dark, throwing all of Fairmont Crest into a spiral of suspicion. Has Bill truly hunted down the right enemy, or has he missed the danger hiding under his own roof? Elsewhere, Haley sharpens a new plan, fast, risky, and aimed straight at what her heart really wants. Is this love, ambition, or the most perilous bet she's ever played? And as that storm gathers, Naomi and Jacob reach a threshold they can't uncross. A single decision that could save their marriage or shatter it for good. Who's pulling the strings backstage? Which secret detonates first? And who pays the price? If you can hear the heartbeat of Fairmont Crest quickening, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and follow us straight into the eye of the storm. Because the moment you think you've got the answer, Beyond the Gates changes the question. Fairmont Crest rarely stays calm long enough for anyone to take a deep breath, and this week everything orbits Bill Hamilton, the man who thought he had memorized every corner of the truth, yet still finds himself standing before a fogged mirror called marriage. In recent days, Bill poured his mind into pursuing Andre, relentless and admittedly stubborn, like a seasoned attorney deciding to close a thorny case. He hired a private investigator, peeled back layers of information, traced the scattered clues, and built a convincing picture to show Danny that Andre didn't belong in her life. In a town where personal honor is fused to family lines and interests, Bill saw removing Andre as a gesture that was both emotional and legal, a way to seal a crack before it split into a canyon. He believed that once this chapter closed, what remained would be a quiet space to repair, to make amends, and to begin again. But the previews suggest that the moment his hand reaches for the handle marked the end. A second, colder door swings open behind him. The next mystery, deeper, closer, and lodged inside his own home. Because the one person Bill didn't investigate is the one he trusts most, Haley. The audience has long sensed that the soft smile and plain-spoken words conceal a surgeon's stitch of calculation. They know about Randy, the colluding cousin, and the professional-grade planning habits of two social predators. To Bill, she's the deft wife who preserves appearances and tends to the small details that make a marriage look orderly. To Haley, marriage is the sheltering structure for the biggest transaction of her life, a $10 million insurance policy, a project designed to close out their next mark. She wants the game to end neatly. A loud enough curtain fall to sell a tragic accident, clean enough for the insurance company to pay, and cold enough that her heart won't flutter for anything except numbers. Bill's birthday becomes the ideal timestamp, the special cupcake the prop, and the innocence of a celebration the sealed gateway through which a staged accident can occur. But Bill, tempered by countless lawsuits, negotiations, and settlements, is not a man who enjoys performing in a production scripted by someone else. He refuses to be shepherded into a prearranged celebration, refuses a cake that feels tighter than it does kind, and instinctively steps back from a joy too perfect to be carefree. He wants a real-deal, meaning transparency. That simple instinct saves him for one more day and knocks Haley's rhythm off beat. A plan that slips tempo isn't just a delayed timeline. It erodes patience, demands a fresh script, new maneuvers, and new tracks to erase. From the moment Bill doesn't eat the cake, the game flips modes. From instant strike to attrition, from ambush to baiting, within that air, another hypothesis takes shape, the sort every good lawyer knows how to turn into a tool. If your opponent plays in the dark, create a deeper dark. The idea of a presumed death becomes an unpredictable countermove. With his legal background, Bill understands exactly what a payout requires. Death certificates, scene reports, a causal chain that holds, granular details like camera footage, phone location data, even habits corroborated by receipts. if prepared tightly, with a trustworthy PI and a few colleagues who know the law better than they know people. This gambit could yank Haley from predator to prey, drawing her into a maze she built for others. When she files paperwork, when she answers routine questions, when Randy follows the script, the legal constraints tighten around their statements and joins. The only question left is whether Bill can finish his maze before Haley pivots to something more brutal. Randy is the variable riddled with the microbes of betrayal. In any long con, greed never sits still. It shifts with the sensation of safety, and safety swells like a bubble when a grifter escapes too many times. Randy understands Haley, but he understands numbers more, and a round figure like 10 million has a way of whispering new projections. If you don't split it, if you cut out intermediaries, if you peel away your partner, that number can change one life, yours. The odds that he might go behind her back, with the insurer, a pliable adjuster, or even a shadow figure, to keep the largest slice is no longer far-fetched. The irony is that Haley's own fear of a partner's double-cross could push her to accelerate, loosen control, and leave rougher-than-usual traces. A drop of haste weighs more than a drop of calm. That's the physics of guilt. All those undercurrents, even masked by dense work calendars and social smiles, send shockwaves through other bonds. Danny is caught between the desire to be protected by a strong man and the risk of having her life decided for her. Andre becomes the variable to delete, and every choice he makes at Fairmont Crest gets examined through the magnifying glass of malice and self-defense. Bill doesn't intend to become the eye of the storm, but when a man plays lawyer, family pillar, and covert architect of a counter-operation to expose his wife, he generates a field of instability. Every text, missed call, and late appointment turns into data points for watchful eyes, and Fairmont Crest has never lacked for those. On the other side of the story, Naomi and Jacob stand at a private flashpoint whose aftershocks may dwarf any lawsuit. Naomi is pregnant, but her first reflex isn't joy. It's a tight line between her brows, a negative number on the emotional balance sheet. She doesn't want to be a mother, at least not now, while Jacob sees the news as an anchor that might steady their drifting marriage. The distance born of that difference is quiet but deep and cold. It turns conversations into equations with no solution and affectionate looks into double-edged blades. When two people love each other for aligned dreams but stumble over misaligned timing, conflict isn't about right or wrong. It's about calendars that don't share a time zone. Naomi has plenty of reasons to hesitate, and perhaps the largest lies in a childhood where her father appeared more often in news briefs and case files than at the dinner table. Bill is a brilliant emblem of success and intellect, but that brilliance may have glare for a child who needed arms more than an icon. As an adult, Naomi chose her own orbit, one where she can control the pulse of her life, shut the door when necessary, open it when she wishes. Pregnancy shatters that rhythm abruptly, making her fear a replay of an old script. A child arriving at the right/wrong time, a mother exhausted by unspoken duties, a father swept into other tempests and returning too late. Jacob has a right to dream of family, but Naomi has a right to dream of becoming a mother on a path that doesn't betray herself. Those opposing rights thicken the air, and we begins to unspool into you and me. Their exchanges, as a result, slide easily into waters where words no longer reach the heart. Jacob tries to prove the baby is a chance to rewrite the definition of security. Naomi sees a test of her honesty with herself. They can go to counseling, set milestones, read every modern parenting book. But the heart is not a spreadsheet you can balance on demand. Meanwhile, the city seems to champion romance. Casual congratulations, throwaway lines treating marriage and children as the default route. That unintentionally forces Naomi into a defensive crouch and leaves Jacob feeling rejected. Two people in love begin learning how to speak plainly without inflicting pain, to listen without bracing, to admit that sometimes happiness must be delayed so it doesn't calcify into a lasting wound. The cruel symmetry is that their private crisis mirrors the quake between Bill and Haley. If Bill truly rigs a trap called death, the vacuum he leaves, even temporarily, may rattle Naomi further. If the reveal detonates right as Naomi is weakest, the damage can double. She faces not only the fear of repeating history, but the collapse of faith in the model of love and marriage she once cited to hold herself together. Jacob, the husband waiting to be a father, will have to learn to stand steady in winds from storms he didn't cause, to keep his desire from becoming pressure, to accept that family is a contract that requires both signatures. You cannot force a signature, so the week's real question isn't merely whether Bill will catch up to Haley's scheme in time, whether a death will force the predator into her own snare, or whether Randy will turn and swallow the whole cake. The question is how far the emotional fallout travels. If the truth erupts at midnight, will Naomi have enough calm left to attempt one more round of negotiation for her marriage? If Bill disappears and returns as a legal victor, will his place in his daughter's heart remain intact? If Haley fails, does Fairmont Crest truly get cleaner, or just trade one mask for another? And amid all this drama, Danny, Andre, Jacob, and Naomi must each choose a personal definition of safety. The safety of money, of honor, of truth, or of daring to say not yet. In the end, Fairmont Crest remains a place where mysteries are excavated by questions that sound ordinary. Are you coming home for dinner? Are you tired? Should we talk a little longer? Bill may end one chase only to open another. Haley may rewrite the final scene of her con. Randy may tailor the measure of his betrayal, and Naomi and Jacob may touch a new path for their marriage by admitting the hardest truth of all. Loving someone doesn't always mean you're ready to step into a new role right now. These undercurrents aren't as flashy as a flaming crash or a frozen 10 million, but they decide how each character makes it through the long night. Some stay awake, some sleep, some dream, and some finally understand that real freedom is choosing when to say yes, not being dragged into a promise you never meant to sign. When the sun eventually rises over the trees around Fairmont Crest, the answer won't arrive like thunder or applause. It will reveal itself in how people look at one another, in the slowing breath of hearts that know where they stand, and in the quiet courage to name what they truly want to keep. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. All the content I make is just speculation and personal sharing. If you find the video interesting and useful, please support me with a like and leave a comment. If you have better ideas or more interesting speculations, please share them in the comments section for everyone to discuss. I appreciate all your contributions and support. Sincerely, thank you.